From the Fidelity Bank Foundation Studio, PBS Kansas presents One-on-One with Victor Hogsrom.
This is where Kansans with noteworthy lives come to share their stories. We talk about life and lessons learned along the way. My guest this week is an accomplished flautist who is focused on helping young people succeed in life through the pursuit of music. Her name is Cathy Grant. Grant has spent most of her life playing, teaching, and sharing the joys and benefits of music. She has seen how it can transform lives and help shape the future of young people in all sorts of ways. Grant recently started an organization called Music Youth Partnership. Its mission is to help middle and high school students thrive as musicians and see music as a lifelong pursuit. We'll find out more about that. Some of her students will also perform for us. Plus, we'll learn more about the road that has led Cathy Grant to this point in her life. It's very interesting, as you'll discover over the next half hour as we go one-on-one with Cathy Grant. Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm Victor Hogsrom and I'm happy to welcome Youth Music Partnership's Cathy Grant to the program. Cathy, it's a pleasure to have you.
My great pleasure, thank you.
We talked about some of the wonderful things you're doing in the community with youngsters, and we'll get more into it in a minute or so. But first, let's talk about your growing up days. Your growing up days were kind of unusual. You have no running water in your home. You had no electricity. You had an outhouse.
That's right.
Wow, sounds like the 18th century.
And I'm not that old.
No.
That's right.
Elaborate on that. How was life like?
Well, gosh, we didn't think we were growing up any differently than anybody in America. We lived on the land that my great-grandparents homesteaded. I lived in the house that they built. They moved to this country and built a dugout like everyone did back then, and had my grandfather Bernard Winning had a wife and two children, and dug a hole, and they lived there until they were able to grow a crop or two or three maybe, and finally build a house. My other set of grandparents lived around the corner, and the same lifestyle. They had a dugout also. We could see the dugouts in the back pasture, and so we grew up playing around that, and were very well aware of how they lived. And so yeah, when I was very small, we didn't have, I remember the kerosene lamps and the outhouse and all that. We got all that as time went on. We got all the accoutrements of modern life. But we did grow up with just propane, and we had a floor furnace, which was pretty common. I went to a one-room country school. Right. On the corner, and we had very modern his and hers outhouses.
Wow.
Yeah, and a floor furnace, but no running water.
But did you mingle with other kids who had electricity, running water, and all of the benefits of modern society? And how did they react to you?
Well, we lived 9 miles north and west of Belleville, which is not an enormous community, but there were city kids, but we didn't really know them. We went to a one-room country school. We were out in the country, and that's who we hung out with. Okay. Of course, I knew some of the kids in town, knew of them, but I'd never been to any of their homes and didn't see how anybody else lived, so I don't think I was really ever aware that people lived that way.
So what was your childhood like growing up in an environment such as that?
Well, we played outside all the time, just like everybody else did, I guess, and we had the run of the land, and it was just a magical way to grow up. I can remember taking my dad's hammer and screwdriver, and there was a pile of rocks. I would go out in the pasture in this pile of rocks, and I would pretend that I was a paleontologist. So in the first grade, I had decided I was going to be a paleontologist because that was my experience, finding fossils.
So then music crept into your life. First, tell us which instrument most interested you.
My dad was a fine musician, played violin and trombone, and so music was always in our home. Our mother played piano. So growing up, it wasn't, are you going to be in band?
Right.
It was, what are you going to play?
Let's pause for a second.
Yeah.
You had piano in your home. Your father played
Violin and trombone.
And yet, you didn't have any electricity.
No.
You didn't have any running water.
That's right.
That doesn't measure up.
They don't seem like they go together.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, go ahead. How did you get interested in that first instrument?
I wanted to play French horn. That was my first desire. I'd heard a French horn play and just thought, oh my gosh, that would be amazing. But we had a family friend who had a flute. And so, coming from a farm family, we had a flute. So I played flute. And picking up the flute I got it the summer of going in the fourth grade. No, the summer going into fifth grade. And when I picked up the flute, learned a note, and played for the first time, I got a tone. And most kids don't. A lot of kids have to work at that a little bit, but it just seemed very natural. And so it just seemed like a good fit all my life.
And so you began playing the flute. How proficient are you?
Well, I've taught flute almost all my life since I was 16.
Really?
And I'm in the Friends University Flute Choir right now.
Oh.
I graduated from Friends University 2 years ago, and I went back to Friends to get my degree because of Music Youth Partnership. I had a lot of street cred, but I didn't have a lot of other cred, and I thought that's very important to do, so I did that, and a month after I graduated, I played my own recital. Yeah.
Is this the one-room school?
Oh, no. Oh, goodness. We moved to town when I was in the fourth grade.
Okay.
Yes. Let me back up and say that. So, yes. So I did get to know the city kids, and we lived in town then. We had it all.
You had it all?
You bet. We had it all at that point. Yeah. So you learned to play the flute. You played at your own recital. What happened next? Well, I had 25 years ago, and this is how I usually start the story. I had a full-time job, and so I started going to, as a flute teacher, I started going to the lower income middle schools, giving a group flute lesson 1 day a week all year long. And it was that weekly interaction with the kids. We got to be really close, and what developed with that group of kids. Some of those kids lived with their grandparents, so it was just a real privilege to be there and work with them. We worked on basics, then we worked on their band music, and then I gave them flute trios, and we started working on their Christmas concert, holiday concert. They stood right where they were in band, and they played their trios, and that group of kids got a standing ovation. I was in the audience, and I thought at the time, gosh, for that group of kids to know what it feels like to do the work, they did the work, and then get a standing ovation. I thought they are going to take that with them the rest of their lives, and how powerful that was. So I came back after Christmas, and I started talking to the kids about Solo Festival. And I said, Solo Festival really made me a musician. I was so desperately shy that it was difficult for me to get up in front of anybody and speak, or let alone play. So I did that, and I did that every year, 5th grade, 6th grade, through the 12th grade. And so that helped guide me along my way. So every one of those girls that first year played a solo in Solo Festival, and they played an ensemble piece, and they got a 1 or a 2 on everything, which was quite stellar. But how it changed their lives was something that was quite amazing to me. There were just so many subtle things that you could see changes in them, that I thought at that time, if we could do that on a broader scale, we could absolutely change lives. So come forward, I raised my kids in a very busy household, and I had a job, we were in real estate, we were in all kinds of things, and I finally, last May, I got COVID. And I thought, well, I can't go anywhere, see anybody, do anything, babysit, all those things. So I might as well get to work on this dream that I've had for 25 years. So I got on my laptop and my phone, and I called all the people one by one that I'd been thinking about for the board. Each one of them said yes, and we had our first board meeting in June, and we've never looked back.
And this was for the organization that you organized.
Right, Music Youth Partnership.
Music Youth Partnership, right. Wow. But before we begin to talk about and to see some of the performances of these kids that you've helped, what were your career aspirations as you were growing up? What did you hope to achieve in life?
I dreamed of getting my master's degree and teaching in a college setting. That was my biggest dream. Then I married a busy general contractor, and we started accumulating real estate, and I got my real estate license at one point, and so we were in real estate and in the building trade. So I learned an awful lot about that. But my biggest job back then was a mom. My kids were involved in a lot of things, and instead of going back to school or getting a full-time job, I realized that somebody else would be taking my son to all the things he was involved in, and I realized it wouldn't be happening. So I made the choice to stay home and be mom. So I did that.
So let's fast forward to now and this organization that you have started called the Music Youth Partnership. What is it, and what is the goal?
Music Youth Partnership. We want to be a safety net for kids that are falling through the cracks. We hire and pay a salary for professional teachers to go into the schools, and we work primarily in USD 259. Fully endorsed by USD 259. We go in under the direction of the band director, the real hero, the band directors. No one has any idea what they do, what all they do. So we work under their direction like a silent partner. Our teachers do ensembles, group lessons, private lessons, just whatever assists the band director in the best way. We eventually will want to work with orchestra and choir, and even have a dream to work in other aspects of the fine arts. So Music Youth Partnership really is a reach for the fine arts, a reach for the kids through fine arts and music. We hand a kid an instrument, a student an instrument if they can't get one any other way. We've had many donations. We get them repaired and give them to students that can't get them any other way. And then our teachers from the 6th grade on, followed them until they graduate from high school.
So Cathy, why do you believe it's so important for kids to be involved in music?
There's overwhelming scientific research that shows that playing an instrument and reading music at the same time touches every part of the brain. There's no part of the brain that isn't affected. And the other part of that is the community that we're bringing kids into. And to have someone that's like a parent figure, mentor, friend, that walks with them through this entire process and encourages them to play music and to play their best and to be part of this rich community. You know, kids that are in band, orchestra, as adults, they often talk about it being life-changing. Their experience having been in a flute ensemble or with the flute group or the percussionists, it's life-changing. And with the advent of COVID and what all that's brought on, the kids need that more than ever. So really, we want to be like that safety net that keeps kids in music.
What have been some of the results of your work with these kids that you've seen that made you say, wow, or made you maybe cry or brought joy to you?
We've not had a lot of stories coming from Music Youth Partnership because we've only been in existence since June.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
That's right. But looking back on my years of experience...
So that's almost a year ago.
Almost a year ago,
Yeah, okay.
right. And right now we are at West High School and Marshall Middle School. We have the names, Dana Hammert is at West High School, and many people know that name. He's a famous, fine musician, and his bio is so long it'd take a week to read it. Mm-hmm. And Randy Crow from Mays High School, retired from Mays High School. Randy Crow is at Marshall Middle School.
And these are some of your instructors.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us, we're about to see some of your kids perform, and they're from Wilbur Middle School.
Right.
What are we going to hear now?
It's the Wilbur Middle School Jazz Band under the direction of Brett Goter.
Let's take a look.
All right.
All right. So Cathy, what kind of reaction do you get from parents? We just heard the kids from Wilbur Middle School play. Reaction from the parents. When they see the children, are they surprised?
They're very surprised. They're very surprised to see their kids improving, playing instruments and playing them well, improving and being part of an ensemble where the rest of the group is depending on them and playing so well. It's yes, it's stunning.
So Cathy, what is the long-term goal of Music Youth Partnership?
Well, we want to see kids do better academically. We want to see increased graduation rates. One thing, the effect that music has on the brain, on every part of the brain, it doesn't just make them a better musician. It makes them better at math, at history, in everything. So we expect that it's going to show up in their grades, in their overall grades, in their self-esteem.
Right. We have another clip of this kids performing, and this is a trombone quartet, I should say, from Marshall Middle School.
Right.
Under the direction of Randy Crow.
Correct.
Let's take a look. Again, nice performance by these kids. You must be proud.
I'm very proud.
Is it tough getting kids to sign up?
Well, many kids have come from a long line of clarinet players, trumpet players, you know, that they have that coming from home. We look forward to, by this fall, reaching out to families more ourselves, having a table at registration at school, that parents, as they come through, that they realize that there's going to be extra help, that we're going to be there to assist the band director and to assist with an instrument if they need one. So we anticipate an addition of kids in band.
So Cathy, what are the lessons learned along the way through this whole process?
Well, Music Youth Partnership, we don't want to so much create musicians. That's not what we're there for. That will happen. That's a byproduct. But we want kids to experience the beauty and disciplines of music education. And we've heard so many stories from so many famous, legendary people throughout time that credit music education for their brilliance. There's been many, many. So we look forward to introducing new kids to music education and to assist them along the way. We also have had contact from other cities. We're moving into Kansas City already. Now, Wichita's the prototype, so what we do here is of utmost importance, how we build this thing. But we've had interest in Kansas City. 2 of our board members are Kansas City kids, and they will be moving back there relatively soon and plan to take Music Youth Partnership with them. So we're getting ready to do a meeting there. A few other cities around the nation I've had calls from already. So, and we've been told that there isn't anybody in the nation that we know of that's doing anything like we're doing.
You are a flutist or flautist.
I am.
Do you still perform?
I do. I'm with the Friends University Flute Choir. Have been for 4 years. we have a lot of fun, and we perform a lot. So I do that.
What are some of your favorite pieces?
Oh gosh, that probably, well, we just performed the prayer. So everybody knows that piece, or most people know that piece, but for the most part, the pieces are sort of unknown. They're usually written for flute choir. We performed last night with the Friends University Band a piece called Black and Gold, and it was written by a Friends University student, and it was written for flute choir and tuba. And it was a delight. We had great fun.
So what would you describe as your guiding principles?
Guiding principles, character, building character. You see, I've seen kids come into band and you could see in their eyes, 6th grade, 7th grade, that they're looking for a place to belong. They're looking, and at that point, they don't know what they're looking for. They don't know if they're looking for a gang or if they're looking, what they're looking for. But a lot of times kids will find that in band or in music classes, a place to belong. So, you know, we encourage character building, excellence, just sticking true to principle.
So do you how do you go about selecting the kids that are interested in learning how to play an instrument?
Well, they come to band. We just come to the band director, and we just assist the band director. So the kids are already in band.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why then do you want to teach them something else when they're already learning in band?
Well, we don't want to teach them something else. We just want to augment what they're learning and make them, our teachers will make them better musicians by taking them aside. So while the band director is working with the rest of the band, our teacher might take out the trumpets and work on different pieces in the parts that they're playing, work with them on solos or on ensemble pieces for the assessment contest, or for a concert that's coming up. So just to augment what the teacher's teaching them.
Cathy Grant, Music Youth Partnership, thank you so much.
Thank you, my pleasure.
One-on-one.
Thank you.
And I'd like to thank you for watching this edition of One-on-One. One-on-one@kpts.org is our email address if you have any questions or comments. I'm Victor Hogsrom. Be safe, and I'll see you again soon.